All right, we're going to talk about the 225 bench press test that you often see people do at combines, where you try to do 225 as many times as possible. There's actually a lot of technique to this, and there's a mindset. You probably realize I talk about mindset a lot because it matters. It gives you a lot of reasons to why you do what you do. So you got to start with a mindset. I don't see it being talked about a lot, but I learned it from the performance world. I don't see it in mainstream media too much. So the first thing on mindset is, it is not a 225 bench press test. Erase that from your mind. It is a max rep test or an AMRAP set. And the reason I say that, because I like to generalize it, because this concept can be used for any weight, not just bench press, not just 225. If I'm doing a single arm bench press with a dumbbell, if I'm doing push-ups, if I'm doing pull-ups, it doesn't matter what exercise. If I'm doing max reps, this is the concept. Everybody has about 40 to 45, 35, depends on who you are. You got about 45 seconds to do as many reps as you can. Everybody, I don't care who you are, you are going to hit a threshold about that time and you're done. That's it. So the first concept is this: you have to do these reps as fast as you can. You're working against a clock. This is not about endurance more than it is about speed. So there's a lot of benefits to this mindset, but the first one is, if you prioritize speed, trying to finish, get as many reps you can as fast as you can, you have to prioritize force output. There's no other way to do it. The other thing it does is it forces you to move both up and down fast. A lot of people have to learn how to let the bar come down fast. And there's timing, there's skill, there's a lot of things that go along with it. But that's the main concept, okay? So now let's work back to technique, because when you are gonna push the bar as fast as you can, as long as you can, you need to have a strong foundation. It starts with your setup. The setup, people clown on powerlifters in the performance world. I think that's a massive mistake. They literally specialize in bench press. I'm gonna look at a powerlifter and steal everything they have on setup, because they're the ones performing at the highest level for their sport. It's literally their sport. So I'm gonna copy them. I'm gonna learn, and what they do a good job of is they learn to connect themselves to the ground. Bench press with your feet in the air, and then bench press with your feet on the ground. Which one's easier? Now, if you take the concept where your feet on the ground and you create more leverage and tension through your feet up all the way literally to your shoulders, that's gonna be the ideal setup. I'm not gonna show you on this video. Go find powerlifters, and all you have to do is find the one that fits you the best. You're gonna see people with their feet flat, you're gonna see them tucked, you're gonna see toes. Look at the rules. If you're going to a combine, look at the rules. Look at what the floor is gonna be made out of. It's gonna be very important that you learn how to tie your feet to the ground. The other thing a powerlifter does is they set the platform a lot better than a traditional bench press. I work with people coming out of top Division I schools. I literally worked with one of the top picks in the NFL draft one year. His bench press was atrocious. It didn't matter. He was going to get drafted. It didn't matter. But his level of knowledge around the bench press, and a lot of them, even at that level, was very basic, if completely absent. So a power lifter, right, they're going to set the platform. They're going to elevate the chest. It's going to do a couple things. The upper back is on the bench. You're going to see a little bit of an arch. The hips probably have to stay on the bench. Most people for a bench press test are going to watch your hips. They got to stay on the bench. So what the arch does, it creates the tension we talked about from the ground, but it also allows you to take a deep breath. And when you do that with that slight arch, it's going to elevate the chest. It's going to create a springboard or a platform to push from. It's going to do a lot of good things in the shoulder. I don't want to skip over that, but more importantly to me, it's going to elevate the chest. It's going to make the press a lot more advantageous, I think, from that position. All right, so after the setup, the breathing is a massive technique, massive. And a lot of people fail to realize this, but if you remember, you're doing as many sets, many reps as fast as you can, because you're working against a clock. Everybody has the same amount of time. You're going to hit this wall. Everybody hits the wall. Doesn't matter how strong you are, you're going to hit the wall. So you're working against the clock. So you're breathing. you're going to take a deep breath, right? You want to create the tightness all around the spine, everywhere, all the tightness from shoulders all the way through your hips. You want to be tight so you can absorb the forces when you go full bore. When you push the bar as hard as you can and you bring it back down fast, you don't want to lose position. The initial breath is the most important because you can't get a better one after that. Remember I said that. You cannot get a better breath than the first one, because then you've got, after the first one, you've got the bar in your hands. You've got fatigue, you've got all kind of things. The first one's the most important. You never let the initial breath completely out until you get towards the end. So hear me out. You're gonna do as many reps as fast as you can on the first breath. It might be 5, it might be 20, but as many as you can on the first breath, right? You don't let the breath out. If anything, an advanced technique is every time the bar comes down, you're gonna draw more air in because a little bit's gonna come out when you push. So it's a constant breathing. You're trying to intake and keep and maintain the tightness. So you're gonna do as many as you can. You're gonna feel the bar start to slow. It's eventually gonna get to the point where you have to take a breath. So you're gonna stop at the top. You're gonna take a new breath. As good a breath as you can get at that point, you're gonna reset your breath, go again. Now, if you only did 5 the first breath, you're probably only gonna do 2 or 3 the second breath. So it's gonna differ. If you're doing higher reps in this set, it's gonna be different because you're gonna be able to, if you did 15 the first breath, you might be able to do 8 or 10 more. So this process might go longer for you. Until you get to the point where you're at the last few reps, that's when you start to switch your breathing to 1 breath per rep. That's gonna help you squeeze out every single rep you can possibly do to finish your max rep test. Now, I mentioned that this is not specific only for the bench press. You can use that same technique for literally any exercise. I think the AMRAP sets, max rep, AMRAP stands for as many reps as possible, if you didn't know. Those types of sets require a lot of effort. It is a way of maxing out, and I do like to use it for many types of people, but it does take a lot out of you. So the technique, being efficient, will help with any of those exercises. The other thing about bench press is the idea that the stronger you are, the easier 225 is going to be. And a lot of people would disagree with me, and they'll say it's nuanced. Well, if I can bench 450, I'm probably going to do 225 more times than the guy that does 250. And that's an extreme example, but the point is, if you're training for the bench press test and you want to increase your number of bench press, the number one thing I'm going to do is try to increase my ceiling, because 225 is at a lower percentage for the person that benches 400 plus than it is the person that benches 300 or 315. It's just very simple math there. So you never stop working on max strength. That's what's going to help take that 225 bench press to the next level. The other thing I would say, if that's something you're training for, you want to use less weight to do this. You also, if you got a higher bench press max, you want to do more weight. So if I can increase 250, 275 max reps, I'm just going to assume I could probably increase, I probably increased my 225. But you're going to work different durations, different speeds, different weights, and you're going to holistically, you want to do the same thing with 205 or 185. You might get 20 reps with 185, your 225 might be at 12. It's a continuum. The idea is you're going to produce your max force as fast as you can, as long as you can. And you should be able to practice that on different loads, not just 225. So take these tips. I think it's something that, rarely do I hear it get talked about. I've had the pleasure just learning from other great coaches, being in certain atmospheres and situations where I got to pick up on these things, and I like to share them because even with all the social media out there, I still don't see a lot of this stuff being shared, and it should be. So enjoy it. Let me know how your 225 bench press goes. My best ever is 41. If you beat 41, tag me and show me. Good luck.